Ray Brooks says, what does Ray Brooks say? Hey Doug, any tips on dropping in? Bro, this brings me like PTSD when you ask that. So when I was in high school, we have a great family friends, but he got a BMX to ride with me. And so we'd go to the skate park when I was staying with them and he'd come out and ride. And he got to the point just in maybe a few weeks. I feel like it was just a few weeks of riding that he was going to drop in. And I said, yeah, drop in. Like, I support it. I was all for it. I kind of gave him the tips and I said, drop in. Most people don't just send it. He just sent it. And the drop in was really good. The drop in was great until he got to the in part. Like, everything was perfect. He was just leaning a little bit too far inside and he fell off, and dude stood up, got out of the bowl, and I can't even replicate it, but this part of his wrist was over here. So his arm was just like this, and I'm all, it was the craziest thing. And I felt bad. I still feel bad. I feel like it's my fault that happened because I convinced him to drop in and I taught him how to drop in. Obviously, I didn't teach him. So Ray, maybe you don't want to take my advice because what if your arm goes crooked? I don't know, man. Anyway, my biggest tip is to start on something mellow and start on something small. So if you have a steep bank, not an actual quarter, a steep bank, roll alongside it and pretend like you're dropping in. Just because you're gonna get gradually steeper, and figure out the concepts. Because the whole way that dropping in works is you're cruising along parallel with the coping. You start to curve into the coping. You lift your front tire up or you shift your weight back so you don't go too far forward. And then you pop your back tire in while leaning into the quarter. And so you can do the same thing on the bank, right? Roll along the bank, pop your front tire in, pop your back tire in, and lean into the bank. The lean's obviously not going to be as steep as it is when you're dropping into a quarter, but it's a good place to start. And then, for example, this park I'm going to go ride tomorrow has really mellow, like, I don't know, 3-4 foot quarters. And so then I would recommend doing something like that before you go into like a 6-foot coping quarter and something bigger. So the biggest advice is going to be to start small. And when you're starting small, really focus on the fundamentals. Over exaggerate it. So you can roll straight down a bank. You can roll down a really mellow quarter, but that's not going to help you drop in. It's going to just help you roll down a bank, which is no good. You want to really focus on the motions to dropping in on these smaller things when you're doing it. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Like if you're going to practice dropping in on a small mellow quarter, but you're not using the correct motions that you would on a big quarter, you're wasting your time. You might as well just go on the big quarter. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Start small, exaggerate the motions so that your body has an understanding of what you need to do. And that muscle memory can kick in when you do it on the bigger quarters.